let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
They came from the water. They have superhuman strength.
He's coming for the surface world.
That can't be good.
All my life, grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. One slice, roll the dice. All my life, grinding all my life.
Now is our time to strike.
Show them who we are.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, rated PG-13.
Hello, this is Adolf, and today I'm reviewing Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. As always, I'll talk about the 3D aspect first. Now, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever has many moments that will make 3D fans happy, and it has some moments that aren't so great. First, let's talk about the negative. There's a lot of darkly lit scenes in this movie. 3D and darkly lit scenes don't work well together. It's very tricky, and it does pretty well with what it has. But dark plus 3D equal, Movie has some very shaky cam scenes as well. And some weird camera angles, and it's kind of hard to keep the eye focused on the 3D sometimes. I think some scenes as well could have been stronger. Like, I see the scene, it's like, oh, that's could have been better. It's nice, but it could have been better. All that negative aside, I gotta say, I still really enjoyed the 3D aspect of this movie. 3D has lots of very nice moments. So depth and pop out. There's a couple scenes here and there that were really nice. You'll see their spears pop out of the screen all the time. You'll see some cool camera angles that actually do work in the 3D. There's some cool stuff, with just the camera perspective as well. There's like a funeral scene with the camera being like a bird's eye view. That camera really works to benefit the 3D in the depth, and it really kind of made you feel like you were there looking down on the scene. It really was effective. There's another scene where there's like Namor that's like jumping out of the screen almost. There's a lot of the battle sequences toward the end with Wakanda and Namor fighting. Really top-notch stuff. Now, you get to see Namor's hometown, Underwater City, and this looks really good. I really, really liked it. There's a lot of parts underwater that look really great. There's some parts not so great. Some parts definitely look nice. There's one scene with the Queen talking directly to the camera that's very powerful, and it helps with the 3D. The dialogue is great. The 3D just really makes it feel like she's talking to you. Like she's looking at your eyes, and it feels like she's there in the same room, and she's just, giant because it's in your movie theater. But still, the point is still made. It's not perfect. There's definitely could be stronger, but there's definitely could be worse. And a lot of it is good. A lot of it is very good. A lot of it is borderline fantastic. It's just, it's not quite there. I want to like it more, but overall presentation is fine. It's enjoyable. I think 3D fans will have a lot of fun with it. So my final verdict for the 3D aspect of Wakanda Forever is good 3D. Now on to the movie itself. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is a very emotional movie. Wakanda Forever is a hard movie to make, and I gotta give them props for making a movie. Obviously they did not know that Chadwick Boseman would die before filming this movie, and they had to find a way to write him out of the story. And I really actually enjoy the first Black Panther. I thought that was one of my favorite movies, and I was not super hyped going into this, but as I walked out, I was like, damn, I really enjoyed that. So they pulled it off. Somehow, some way, they found a way to pull it off. The story here is about basically Wakanda after the death of T'Challa. The family is struggling to find their new lives, and they're visited by an outsider. This outsider is named Namor. He's a strange man with wings on his feet, and he's going after a brilliant scientist who's named Riri. Now, Namor thinks this Ruri person has a lot of potential to damage his land and the land of Wakanda. And he needs to have the scientist contained. So we go on to find out the truth about Namor, Ruri, and if Namor and Wakanda can live peacefully together. Are they going to war? Well, you're going to have to watch the movie to find out for yourself. I love the cast of this movie. I love the cast in the first Black Panther movie. But this one, they really stepped it up. They gave 110%, and their acting is on point. I have to highlight one person specifically above everybody else. Angela Bassett's character as the Queen, Ramonda, her performance is excellent. It's incredible. It really is a truly amazing showcase for Bassett. Her performance, she really steps it up. It's a masterful performance. You could see on the screen her heart and soul is showcased, and she delivers each line with power and eloquence. Oh, she's wonderful in this. Truly, her performance wowed me. I really liked everyone else in the cast too. Don't get me wrong. Dominic Thorne as her introduction to Ruri. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. You may know her later on as iHeart. Her dialogue is very real, very authentic. It's kind of stuff that like, oh yeah, that's totally what a real person would say in that situation. The newcomer here, Namor, Tenoch Huerta, I love him in this movie too. He might be the antagonist of the movie, but I don't really consider him the villain per se. He's interesting, he's sympathetic, and very passionate. I love how he works and how his story is presented, and I really like this character. They make him distinct, and he's not just Marvel's version of Aquaman. If anything, Aquaman is a copy of him. Now, I have to admit, so far in this review, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I'm gushing. I love this, I love this, I love this. You can tell, I'm really enjoying this movie. But, of course, there's some flaws. Movie's a little too long, and it really feels it. It's like 2.5 hours long, and the pacing can be all over the place. Some parts flow really well, some parts are slow. Kind of looking back, it's like, you know what? They could have cut out a lot of this, a lot of that. And ultimately, with what we have, I did really enjoy the story and the plot and how it worked. But I still feel like with 2.5 hours, we have a lot of unanswered questions, and it really bothered me. I'm not going to spoil what the questions are, but they're very vital plot points, and they're missing depth, and we need these answers. As an audience, this is not just me nitpicking, it's not little plot holes. These are substantial, big questions that I had before I went in the movie, and now I left the movie, seeing it, I still want answers. Maybe in the future, in another TV show or another movie, they'll explain it, but they should have explained it here, and I have to dock them for this. If you haven't seen the original Black Panther, you're going to be lost. No ifs, ands, or buts about this. I loved and watched the first one only once in theaters, and I kind of was forgetting some things. And I probably should have watched this the first one, before I watched this one. Now, like I said before, some of the camera angles are weird. It's distracting. It kind of, shaky cam is not something I like anymore. It was kind of fun beginning of the 21st century, but now it's just annoying, and it just takes you out of the movie. Look, all these issues I have with the movie, with Wakanda Forever, are minor. Overall, I still really enjoyed this movie. The minor issues are there. It keeps it from being perfect. It's small stuff. Now, for the most part, this movie wowed me. And I gotta say, there's a lot of cool action. The cinematography, with a few exceptions, of course, is very well done. The comedy here is very enjoyable, and they're able to actually really please a crowd and give us a break from the sadness of the story. How this movie develops its lore with Namor, mwah, love that. Love it so much. It's so interesting. It's so distinct. It feels fresh. It feels like something I've never really seen before. I love the whole thing with the Mayan culture. Love it. It's so interesting. The movie has many interesting surprises. The third act is exciting, and how it ends is so satisfying. There's a lot of times I was like, wow. And this is a powerful, emotional journey. I cried. I cheered. I laughed. And I was blown away by Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It's a heavy movie. It's not perfect. But damn it, I still really loved it. And I still highly recommend it. So, what's my final verdict? I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's so close. In retrospect, I gave the original 9 out of 10 and Editor's Choice movie. So I guess you could say this is a little bit less than the first movie for me. But I still really enjoy both of them. And this is still way better than I was expecting. And it's nice. It's nice to go in the theater and be happy when you leave. And ultimately, that's why you go to the movies, to be happy. And I got everything I needed from a movie. A whole package here. That's going to be it for me. Bye. Alright, before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Mr. Bungle 5, Kano 3D, Gravity Head Zero, Alex Folk, and Kevin Winter for your financial support on Patreon.com.
You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye.